Now, I read that you appeared in The Tempest in 1972 in the Yale Repertory Theatre.
I played Ariel.
Can you talk to us a little bit about that and whether this is a full circle moment for you?
Well, I certainly prefer this production. I was one of like 3 or 4 Ariels. We were in little stretchy suits and had to jump around and be sort of energy. Anyway, it was, it was with Purcell's music, so that was quite beautiful. But I'm very glad I had a chance to come and play Prospero.
It's opening night in the West End again, and oh wonder how many goodly creatures are there here at Theatre Royal Drury Lane for Jamie Lloyd's production of The Tempest, starring the one and only Sigourney Weaver.
Well, this all came about really because Andrew Lloyd Webber really wanted to bring Shakespeare back to this amazing theatre, Theatre Royal Drury Lane, which of course he now owns, because he saw The Tempest in this very building in 1957 when he was a small child, and that's the last time that there's been Shakespeare in this building. And when we were doing Sunset Boulevard and he was playing me some new music for The Illusionist, which is the new show that we're working on, he sort of peered over the piano one day and just said, "Oh, by the way, I've always wanted to do Shakespeare at Drury Lane, would you do it?" And I said yes. Without giving it another thought, really. And then I was thinking, what the hell have I just agreed to do? Doing a play in this massive theatre, this massive auditorium, this huge stage.
It's the most beautiful theatre I've ever been in. And surprisingly, even though it's, 3 balconies, it's so intimate. I feel like we feel so at home there. And there's a wonderful warmth and spirit about the theatre itself, as if actors are really welcome there.
It's such a great opportunity to, be entrusted with the keys to this building. And as I was kind of walking past one day, I was thinking, God, this has got to feel like a big event. We've got to have someone. I knew I wanted to do The Tempest. It made sense to kind of bring The Tempest back to this theatre. I thought we've got to have someone who's like, it feels kind of like an iconic moment. And this name, Sigourney Weaver, just came to mind, and I was almost like out of the blue. And I'm a big Alien fanboy, I've seen Alien more times than anyone else, and I just love Sigourney so much. I never dreamed that she'd even say yes to it.
Well, I felt that whatever inspired Jamie to invite me was so mad, I could not resist. It was such an unusual invitation that I was immediately captivated by it.
And I fired off an email to her agent, and they were like, no, she's never going to do it. People always ask her to do the West End, and she's never engaged with theatre. She hasn't done a Shakespeare for 30 years. And I went to bed, woke up the next morning, and there was an email saying, "Hello from Sigourney." And it was literally from her direct, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to do this.
And because I haven't done anything like this before, I've done Shakespeare, but I haven't done it in a while, and I've never played, certainly never played Prospero. I felt the play worked so well from a woman's point of view, that this was a woman who was, torn from her life, and she and her daughter had to start anew on this island. And when she finally gets her hands on these men who did this to her, she's able to really express herself.
And here we are, opening night, and we've made it all happen.
That's a really nice thing to say. I don't know if I would agree that Ariel's a role that I was born to play. It's a role that I think I've done okay with, but so many people have played this part and done it brilliantly. Shakespeare was never something that was on my radar in terms of skill set, so it wasn't like on the dream list. And the second that Jamie asked me to do it, and I started like checking in with other friends and artists and people, they were like, that makes so much sense, like you would be great in this. So I'm really grateful that everyone else thought so, because it gave me the confidence to actually go for it and do it.
I mean, it was really great. I mean, this is the 5th time I've worked with Jamie. And what's great about Jamie is he just makes you feel really confident. And our very first day of rehearsals, he makes sure that everybody is off book. And we had this sort of rehearsal where he dims the lights in the rehearsal room, and it's all very calm, and we just go through the play. And we've all just met each other, you know. So, but it's just a really calm way of approaching the play, and it's kind of stayed with us for the whole process.
It's been very humane, the rehearsal process. We've had, we are called in to work in a concentrated spell, so not too early, and we're released relatively early. But for that spot that we have, there's intense work, and it's wonderful. It's so great, that privilege, and also the cast, which has a sort of natural harmony about it. There wasn't anything forced. No egos flying about. It's been a beautiful, beautiful process.
I think everything has just been such a joy. Jamie's a wonderful person, and just getting to work. I worked with him once for The Effect. I was the understudy, so it was really cool coming back to be able to be part of it in such a wonderful way. So that was really cool.
Well, I just think the first time I stood on that stage was absolutely magic. With the history of Shakespeare and Congreve and Sheridan, all the people I love, and our lovely company, we just stood on that stage and felt such history. And then tonight, looking at that full house, it was so lovely.
Ooh, do you know what? The whole thing has been so memorable. Jamie has created this incredible environment where it's so collaborative and open and free, like no process I've ever had before. So yeah, honestly, just the collaboration is what I'm going to hold on to.
Mathew and I have worked together quite a lot, you see, so yeah, we know each other quite well, and we're both students of comedy as well, and so it's very important for us to get that stuff right and be precise and be detailed and just, enjoy it, and hopefully people come on the ride with us.
Sigourney is so lovely, just the best. We, on day one of rehearsals, had this like imaginary snowball fight, and I went home and I was like, did I just have an imaginary snowball fight with Sigourney Weaver? It's insane, but she's the best.
Sigourney Weaver is iconic in every way. She is a remarkable human being and has been so kind to everyone, so kind to me.
She's just amazing. She's phenomenal, you know, and so supportive and so strong and a legend, you know, so it's like, it's always quite daunting, but she's so lovely and just beautiful.
I mean, come on, it's Sigourney. She's amazing. Honestly, she's just a dream to work with, and the kindest and nicest person as well. Genuinely, yeah, she's great.
She's always been a hero of mine, and actually coming close up, she's even more of a hero of mine.
Well, I tried not to think about all the extra levels of pressure. Jamie Lloyd is so wonderful to work with. The rehearsal was so organic. We were also encouraged by him, and I'm part of such a wonderful ensemble. So I have to say that once I learned the part, which I learned before I came here, it's just been a wild, wonderful experience. And I had my good friend Selina Cadell with me in the cast, who also worked with me on some of the texts, just because I had a lot of catch-up to do. You know, there's a lot of work to do in 5 weeks.
Well, I know her very well. I've known her for 50 years, so it's been the greatest pleasure of my career to work with such a dear friend, and it's been a joy.
There was something very potent to me about this idea of, from the kind of chaos of a shipwreck, kind of spiritual, emotional, psychological renewal, and this kind of view to the future as opposed to this dwelling on the past, and this kind of act of mercy, forgiveness, compassion, rather than vengeance, rather than revenge, rather than anger, rather than resentment, felt like a very important, potent message, and something that I found very moving when I was reading the play again.
Jamie's take is, and I think it's what Jamie does, is that he just finds the play again. He just drills down, and it's a bunch of people on an island, and he tells that story, and he makes it clear, and he literally sometimes see audiences leaning into it because they are hearing it for the first time, even if they've seen 12 Tempests.
Somehow he puts us into another world, a kind of a psyche world, rather than just a literal one.
I think it's very epic. I think for people who don't know Shakespeare very well, this is a good introduction for them to come and see and be like, oh, this is a whole new version, a whole new, way of looking at it, which is really exciting.
Oh, this is a very psychological, intense sort of world that we've created. A lot of the magic is within the mind and it's sort of implanted. It's a story about a woman she starts off wanting revenge and eventually sort of reaches a place of forgiveness, and eventually it's about hope and future and the future generation.
It's so amazing that, Andrew's dream has come true, and he's got Shakespeare back in Theatre Royal Drury Lane. And it's great. It's such a brilliant bravura production.
It is a remarkably cathartic piece of theatre, and I think this is an incredibly divisive time in most countries. It's kind of a global issue, and the more that we can learn to just let go of things and do so with grace, I think the better off everyone's going to be.
It's a dark world out there, and it's a dark piece. It's a stormy weather.
And yet, ultimately the play is about forgiveness and reconciliation to a certain extent. And I feel that's such a timely message for our world right now, which is a violent world. And this is about the antidote to violence, forgiveness.
The Tempest rages on until the 1st of February 2025 here at Theatre Royal Drury Lane. As always, you can leave your thoughts about the show in the comments section down below. But please, for the love of Ellen Ripley, in an outer space battle to the death with an enormous xenomorph, keep it kind. Give us a like, subscribe to our channel, and ring that bell for notifications. And I'll see you next time for What's on Stage. Now, do you have a personal memory so far, either from your time in rehearsals or previews, that you'd like to share with us?
Goodness, well, apart from gawping endlessly at the legend and icon that is Sigourney Weaver, to the point where lines... Jace, it's your line. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, that's probably my high and low point, frankly.
I would say that hanging from the rafters is not the most comfortable of experiences. It's exhilarating in many ways. It's kind of become second nature, but over the repetitive nature of doing it, 2 times in one day, sometimes you start to get a little sore. So my hips are going to need a lot of love and affection down the line. Yeah, I'm going to need those, the chafing powder.